Of course, the media didn't cover this at all or well enough. So, guys, last week, Jeffrey Epstein's victim, or one of the victims that testified against him, suddenly passes away. Supposedly, she passed away by way of offing herself. Now, her name is Virginia Garif. Pretty sure I'm messing up the last name, so I'm going to refer to her as Virginia for the rest of the video. So, Virginia, all of a sudden, all these years later, survives that trauma, survives that nonsense, gets through, gets on with her life, gets married, has kids, and then decides one day that's it. Now, supposedly a few months ago, she had gotten into a bus accident, and there was a post on Instagram, I think, or maybe Twitter, of her looking battered. Now, according to the bus driver, the bus that supposedly hit her, she was okay. But the next post, she was battered up and states that she only had a couple days to live. Now, coincidentally, her husband, who she separated from, if I'm not mistaken, it was around that time or maybe a little before, was supposedly all these years of 21 years of marriage, all of a sudden he was beating her, supposedly, after 21 years of marriage. And he starts beating her within the last few months of them being together, or last year being together. And now all of a sudden, she posts that picture, and then a couple months later, she's dead from that. Now, in the picture, she looked like she got beat. And in the post, she said she only had 4 days to live, or whatever it was. But then she dies a few months later, and then they say she took her own life. Now, we had all thought that she was going to pass away a lot sooner when she testified, but she didn't. And then a couple years went by, and then she did. Now, I'm thinking somebody went after her, or somebody threatened the husband, that the kids were going to be the outcome if you don't deal with her, or maybe they threatened the kids to her, and she probably took her own life to save the kids. Needless to say, guys, nobody looked at this as a suspicious. They were just like, oh, well, apparently she took her own life, and that's it. Now, granted, guys, whenever something looks like suicide, cops, for the most part, do not want to investigate any further than that. They won't. If it looks like it, they'll be like, oh, it looks like it. It looks like they offed themselves. That's it. Meanwhile, it could have been set up in such a manner that they overlook anything else. They look at the person and go, oh, one slug, one gun, no forced entry, no anything, suicide. And then that's it. Meanwhile, it could have very well been something else. But cops are lazy, for the most part, or they just don't want to add another caseload on top of another case on top of their caseload. There's also that. I know that cops in like Detroit or wherever it is, they do not want any more murders. They don't. So if something looks like a suicide, they're going to deem it such because they already have 25 cases. They don't want 26. That might be a little understandable, but that is true injustice to a family member if there was something else going on. In Virginia's case, she is tied to one of the most powerful cases ever to hit the courts in American history, or world history, rather, excuse me. There are so many high-powered people attached to Mr. Epstein that her death should absolutely be investigated, but we all know it won't, because they're going to go down a deep tunnel that they will not be able to come back from, and they're probably going to risk their lives and their families' lives. It's probably why you should have somebody single who doesn't have family to investigate this, because there is a lot more to this than her offering herself. They're not even looking at the reason. Their reason is because she suffered past trauma, that sort of makes sense as to why she did it. And I don't get it. I'm looking at this as, we know what the fuck this is. We are not that stupid, but they're trying to treat us like we're stupid. And this is the official excuse of why she might have did it, because of the past traumas of the whole Epstein nonsense. Not even remotely close to believable. The problem, guys, is that if they got to her years later, even after she outed Epstein and Prince Charles, Prince, whatever the hell his name is, this guy here, um, even though she outed him as well, they probably went after her for revenge. So to send a message, it doesn't matter whether you testify or not, we're going to get you one way or the other. And that is definitely going to shut the mouths of anybody else who's thinking about testifying against Prince Andrew, excuse me, or Epstein, who really doesn't matter because he's supposedly dead, but I think he's in hiding. But again, that's a different subject for a different day. Things like this, guys, will continue to go down if nobody entertains it and nobody investigates it. And we need people to go after this harder, but they won't. Trump is not going to do anything about it. No world politician will ever touch this with a 10-foot pole because they are, in fact, scared. And, in fact, the elites are probably threatening their entire lineage. Not just their kids, their entire lineage. I could almost guarantee that's what it is. But sometimes, guys, if you want to save the world from evil, you have to sacrifice a lot. Anyway, guys, this is The Angry Prepper. Thank you for watching the Angry Truth channel.